This video is brought to you by UGREEN, maker of the UGREEN NAS lineup of advanced storage, backup, and remote access servers for the rest of us. If you're interested, please do show them some love and check them out using the link in the description below, and save yourself 20% off during their Black Friday event this year between November 20th and December 1st. Thanks, UGREEN. Although this video is sponsored, the views expressed herein are, as always, absolutely my own. This is only as it should be, and I thank UGREEN for respecting this approach. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca the Younger, philosopher, statesman, playwright, 4 BCE to 65 CE. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for 3 Blind Men and an Elephant, and instead of giving you my version of what so many other YouTubers have done over the last 3 months, how to set it up, comparisons to the competition, how fast 500 megabytes per second is, not really, let's start here. Up until a year or so ago, I knew UGREEN as an up-and-coming manufacturer of well-designed and executed consumer electronics accessories. Think chargers and power banks. They were so good, however, that my preference for these kinds of things switched from Anker, excellent products though they were, to UGREEN, and I've never looked back. 1 year later, as if out of nowhere, although not really, UGREEN has taken by storm the relatively esoteric and far higher up the value-add chain NAS market, that is, network-attached storage devices, formerly the providence of companies like Synology and QNAP. Now, what exactly is a NAS? It's a fast, hold that thought, high-capacity computer with a pile of hard disk drives, or less frequently because of the cost and capacity, solid-state drives, dedicated exclusively to file sharing among multiple users across remote networks, which doesn't mean you can't use it all on your own. In any event, call a NAS a big banging data parallelizing server for the rest of us. That's where it gets its speed, hold that thought, which, as it happens, I thought might be just the ticket for what I do. What better way to test that thought than by getting in touch with UGREEN and trying out one of their latest consumer-focused NASs, their 4-bay DH4300 Plus NAS. Because right, I don't have the time nor the inclination to be a sysadmin. And up until UGREEN, I'd concluded that's what I'd have to be precisely. Not my jam. No futzing. That's where it's at. The bottom line? As the photo backup solution the company positions it, and for sharing and accessing not only photos but Word documents, PDFs, presentations, spreadsheets, even small video clips that one might use for social media campaigns or larger video libraries using proxy files, I think the DH4300 Plus NAS is the best once-and-done personal cloud storage alternative to monthly subscription services like Google Drive, Dropbox, and WeTransfer I've seen. But before we go any further, rant on, let me just cut to the most important point of all. My fervent hope for UGREEN, that it figures out not only how to make its software Apple-level easy so that one needs not a single strand of sysadmin DNA, it isn't quite there yet, but that it somehow, some way, helps break the Adobe monopoly that is strangling too many of us, especially when it comes to cloud storage. This is personal for me, because I ran out of Adobe Cloud Storage at 4 terabytes, even though I'd been paying for 4 plus 1 separately. And after more than a month of back and forth with Adobe, I am still unable to export my Creative Cloud library so that I can host it on the DH4300 Plus instead. P.S. During the recording of this video, Adobe offered me a non-published 10 terabyte plan for $60 a month, which I accepted as an interim fix since I am still unable to export my files in one go. Hold that thought too. I like the DH4300 Plus NAS. I like its industrial design. I like how quiet it is. I like how easy it is to install a wide array of third-party drives. No lock-in, unlike some other companies which shall remain nameless. Although I should add that I like the screwless drive caddies of the DXP4300 Plus NAS even better. I also appreciate what a modern convenience, the NFC functionality that allows one to simply hold a smartphone up to the device to connect with it. I like that the DH4300 Plus NAS just plain works. As for the software, the good news is I found that the UGREEN Photos app automatically backed up the 40,000 plus photos just from my iPhone relatively quickly and essentially seamlessly while I was off doing other things. That's the way it should be. The big news is that the promise of AI in that app to categorize images rocks my boat. It does some of that already. But to auto-magically segregate all of the thousands of test scene shots I've taken over the years, for example, would be incredible. To automatically group all of the photos I've taken of the Chrysler Building, as another example, I'd love that. That would be materially beneficial to me. I'd love it even more if I could use this kind of AI on my Lightroom catalog that I backed up to the DH4300 Plus. Oh, that's right, I can't. UGREEN, please, keep doing you. Help us with this problem. As for the rest of the apps, I want fewer apps, not more. Don't make me learn about. I don't get any kick from jellyfish, pufferfish, blowfish, whatever it is. I'm not looking for self-actualization in the NAS world. I just want to make my professional life simpler and less expensive. So let's go there. The economic case for the DH4300 Plus NAS ranges between calculable and compelling, depending upon, as always, your use case, your priorities, your inclination, your price elasticity. You get the idea. As an example of the former, calculable, do the economics for smartphone syncing work? Yes, but in the overall scheme of what the DH4300 Plus NAS can do, no big thing, really. 12 terabytes of storage for smartphone photos is overkill. I have never gotten close to that limit, never mind the DH4300 Plus's 120 terabyte maximum capacity, although call that 90 terabytes if one uses RAID 5, which I strongly encourage anyone to do. And the time to recoup the investment of the DH4300 Plus versus just continuing to feed Apple is long. Call the DH4300 Plus kit $800, $369 for the DH4300 Plus alone, another $400 for 16 terabytes worth of gross Seagate Ironwolf capacity spread across a set of their 4 terabyte NAS drives, netted to 12 terabytes courtesy of the RAID 5 configuration I recommend as a single volume. This amounts to $67 a month for the first year, but then it's free excluding electricity until one of those drives has to be replaced. But odds are that wouldn't happen for years, let's say 5 years. So another $100, although likely significantly longer than that if my experience with RAID 5 DAS systems is any indication. If you can even find a 4 terabyte drive by then. At the current $10 a month I've been paying Apple for cloud storage since I can't remember how long ago, it would take 6 or 7 years to recoup the cost of the DH4300 Plus with those drives. But if you figure, for argument's sake, that I've been paying about that much for closing in on 2 decades, forget about the time value of that money. I've probably dropped a couple of grand on iCloud storage. Now, if you want cloud backup and sharing that do indeed require 10 or 12 terabytes or more, that's when things get really interesting. 10 terabytes of data under Google One, for example, we're talking a Google Drive personal account, costs $50 a month. The DH4300 Plus NAS instead would have paid for itself with an extra 2 terabytes of buffer. I like that. Over the course of 5 years, you'd save yourself $2,200, just about 3 times the cost of the all-in-one DH4300 Plus NAS. Nice. 10 terabytes for Google's business plan, though? Google will charge you $300 per month as an add-on, or $3,600 a year. Over the course of those 5 years, you'd save $17,200. And we're not even talking about how those apps will evolve in that time. If you fit into either camp, right about now you may be muttering to yourself something like, yeah, baby, yeah. And if you use Adobe Lightroom Classic and you've got terabytes of images, I'll say it for you. Oh, baby. Kind of. That's because I was able to export 1 month's worth of full-resolution originals from Lightroom Creative Cloud to the DH4300 Plus NAS, then import them into Classic from the DH4300 Plus NAS. Everything, fortunately, wonderfully, where it was supposed to be. The thing of it is, I prefer the precision of Classic's XY comparison, but other than that, I much prefer Creative Cloud. The problem with Creative Cloud, you already know, because I've already whined about it, and my temporary 10 terabyte, $60 a month Adobe Cloud storage plan workaround. Getting my data out of the Adobe Cloud and onto, at this point, almost any other full-function editing suite, the DH4300 Plus NAS would pay for itself in a year. All of which leads us to those things that can and do get in the way of making any NAS a dreamboat solution. 1. We've already covered the problem of getting data out of the world's most widely used photo editing software, born of its competition-crushing monopoly. 2. Speed. On the one hand, like for like, the UGREEN DH4300 Plus smoked Dropbox for upload speeds. On the other hand, the speed of any NAS, remember, network-attached storage, not direct, is gated by that network connection and the particular port configuration available to you. I have Verizon's 1 gigabit Fios internet service here in the Batcave, which is the fastest service available to me. And while that's plenty fast for uploading my videos to YouTube when I can walk away, try getting a fraction of that speed at any hotel when you're trying to sync your photos across devices using Adobe Cloud Storage or anything else. And that's with Gigundo server farms in the background. I have yet to read a review of any hard drive-based NAS with transfer speeds close to the 1 to 1.5 gigabytes per second that I get from my Thunderbolt 3 connected DAS. Not a big deal for most things, but for large 4K video libraries using native 4K rather than proxy files, not great. Just saying. Three, the right backup for the backup. Any NAS connected directly to one's primary computer essentially obliterates one of the key values of cloud storage. Backup, isolated from and therefore immune to whatever indignities the primary computer might suffer from flood, fire, theft, or, I don't know, an EMP? This would be less of a problem for me if there were an easy way to connect the DH4300 Plus to my go-to for high-volume, cost-effective, although definitely not fast, backup, Backblaze. UGREEN's NAS application makes it easy to connect to Google Drive, but as you now know, that's a mirror backup choice which costs me $600 a year. I hope UGREEN sorts this soon and makes it as easy as adding a credit card to Apple Wallet. 4. The one app I desperately need. When I finally successfully export my Lightroom Creative Cloud catalog, the first thing I'd love to do is import it to a powerful, infinitely scalable, AI-enabled all-the-way baby catalog on the DH4300 Plus. The problem is, I know of no catalog as powerful as Adobe's, and the photo app UGREEN has is more of a stub than a full-blown app, at least for what I need. But my sense of UGREEN is that they have the brains and the ambition to successfully build one if they choose to do so, along with fully automated export and import batch processes. And I so want to see this happen. The industry, I need it. 5. The UGREEN UI. I experience the UGREEN app as a great start, but my eyes, they just ain't what they used to be. I'd love to see a version 2 which makes much better use of the screen real estate available to it, including dynamic resizing so that I could read it easily, with a set of gestures and icons more consistent with what I expect from, in my case, an Apple-based system. Six, reducing the futz. Steve Jobs famously said, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it in the end, because once you get there, you can move mountains. Look, UGREEN is clearly on the move to broaden the appeal of NAS servers by making them accessible to non-techies. The DH4300 Plus is clearly an example of this. But as I said, in a different sentence, in a different context, they still have a ways to go. The instruction manual, for example, only includes instructions for installing the drives, but that process is so simple a 30-second video would be much better And you wouldn't even need that much time. 10 seconds. Make it easy for me as a creative, not a sysadmin, and you've got a whole new target market to go after. 7, what about security? This is bigger than I think most people understand. As soon as one's computer is no longer air-gapped, if it ever was, my first one was, back in 1981 of necessity, security becomes an issue, especially in this day and age. Now, UGREEN NAS does have a built-in security manager, which supports real-time virus scanning and flexible permission management. But the problem is that what we really need is the equivalent of Underwriter's Laboratory and the UL listings for security rather than electricity, as it is simply too difficult for mere mortals to determine what is and isn't secure, and security is too important and fragile to leave to parties which are not independent and not answerable to the full weight and power of a governmental body. I'd love to see UGREEN take a lead on making this happen, with the idea that it becomes a national or even global responsibility. Finally, 8. The dream. My most fervent wish, a near-term wish, a wish I'm practically counting on, apart from all those other wishes I've already been through, is for UGREEN to create a series of scalable, true NAS-DAS hybrids all the way up to 8 or even 12 bays, essentially offering the best of both worlds in a single box. That's because it's not only the leading NAS vendors who've fallen asleep at the switch, but now we'd increase the value of both to someone like me. Just make them totally plug and play. That would be amaze-o. All of which leaves us here. For me, the overarching appeal of UGREEN is that they understand the value of time, especially for creatives who do not want to add the title of sysadmin to their many other titles, their many other roles. They, UGREEN, don't lock us into proprietary drives with proprietary costs either, although what makes their drives proprietary from other NAS vendors is beyond me. As I said at the outset, UGREEN is shaking up the industry that once upon a time was the providence of Synology and QNAP, and I am delighted they are. If the company's most consumer-oriented personal cloud drive devices like the DH4300 Plus NAS are any indication, and I think they most certainly are, I want to spend more money with UGREEN on precisely the kind of hybrid device I just outlined. I need it. Like yesterday. For those of us not as far down the rabbit hole as I am for capacity and speed, the DH4300 absolutely should be at the top of your list for freeing yourself from forever subscriptions, just like we can only dream of freeing ourselves from forever chemicals. It is the easiest NAS to get up and running and do something I've ever seen. Call UGREEN's DH4300 Plus NAS a tough-to-beat entry point into the advanced world of storage, backup, and remote access from a company clearly on the move. Just make sure you truly understand all the componentry and adjacencies you'll have to face, and develop a realistic appreciation for what a NAS can and cannot do. If you're interested in a UGREEN NAS, please do check them out using the link in the description below and grab 20% off during their Black Friday event this year, November 20th to December 1st.